As much as any other threat, recognizing and avoiding scams is becoming more and more a needed skill in today's society. And so this week on Phil's Tax Hacks, we're going to talk about scams, the financial fortress, how to protect ourselves, coming up.
Welcome into Phil's Tax Hacks and other retirement facts with CPA and personal financial specialist, Phil Putney. Now let's get rolling with today's show.
Hey everybody, welcome into Phil's Tax Hacks and other retirement facts. Phil Putney and myself here to talk about shoring up our financial fortress and protecting ourselves when it comes to scams and fraudulent things out there. Always been the case. Ever since that Nigerian prince or whatever that email was back in the early 90s or late 80s started going around saying that they'll do whatever. It seems like scams have been on. I'm sure there's scams that go all the way back to who knows what, long
they've just
before.
become a little bit more complex now. And I unfortunately, in the world we live in today, I don't think you've seen the end of it. It's going to get worse with AI and everything else now.
Exactly. I mean, snake oil salesmen, right? All the way back to the 1800s or whatever, sell you a bottle of water and say that it's miracle tonic, whatever it is. So always something going on. But in the digital era, we certainly need to keep our head more on a swivel. There's lots of things that can happen. So Phil, this week I want to go through and share a couple of things that are out there, and we'll just kind of give some people hopefully some pointers or some tips to think about stuff. I mean, many of us know that this stuff exists, but hopefully we can frame it in a way that he's like, oh yeah, I got to keep my eye out on that. For example, you and I were just chatting, and actually I had kind of a big news story to kind of go along with this. And then you were telling me, oh, it actually happened to your family as well. So we'll kind of share that real fast. But like I saw this news story about a 77-year-old widow named Marjorie who lost 600 grand to a tech support scam where the fraudsters posed as bank officials. They convinced her to wire her funds into a crypto thing to protect her money from, theft. And of course they stole it. On the news report, we'll put a link into this, but he says basically Americans over 60 have lost about $3 billion to cyber fraud back in 22 alone.
Yeah, I mean it's out there, right? And especially for the older generation, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, they get preyed on because they're probably not as tech savvy, which is expected. I mean, they haven't been in that tech world as long as most of us have, or definitely as long as like our kids have, right? So right. To them, it might seem normal that something like this would happen. Yeah. So in this case, it was actually a client, but in their case, they had, quote unquote computer issues. So they had signed up for this. They searched online, and that's kind of the first big thing to be careful of, because that's where a lot of these start is you go looking for something online and make sure it's legit. Well, we can help you with your computer. So she did, and they gave, they took control over her computer, and then the next thing they're basically holding her ransom saying, okay, well, we have all your passwords for your bank account, and we've taken your money. And it's crazy what they can do. I mean, they showed the bank account on the screen to say, well, here's your account. They hit the button and it goes to zero. And you're looking at what you think is your account, and it's not your account. They didn't have access, but it goes to zero, and they get enough information from you to know you bank at this bank, these are whatever it is. So they can make it look like they're doing this. Yeah. And, then they're saying, okay, well, for us to release the money to you, we need you to go issue us a wire transfer to X account. Yeah, and there's the key. It's like, okay, think this through. Yeah. If they had access to your money, why do they need you to wire anything? Right?
Exactly.
They got it. Why are they even talking to you? They got all of it. Why are they giving any of it back? So in this case, fortunately, it all played out well, where the daughter was able to come in while this was going on and said, hang the phone up, get off the phone. And the other daughter had gone to the bank and was ready to wire these monies. They were able to stop it. Nothing happened in the end. So it was
that's good.
Fortunately caught kind of in the nick of time, so to speak.
Yeah.
But that's how these things work, right? I mean, they play on emotions and they know the fears.
Big time. Big time.
And if you don't maybe understand technology as much and are able to, it's hard for any of us, right? You're in that heat of the moment, and you're seeing what you think is your bank account and it goes to zero, I mean, you're freaking
panicking
out. You're like, what?
Yeah.
That's all my money. It's gone. Yeah, I'll give you whatever I can to get it back. Right. So
yeah, you panic in a heartbeat. Yeah. Well, that's wild. So let's go through some stuff. Let's go through a bunch of different things for folks and try to help them out. Although I will say, in defense of seniors and boomers or whatever, oddly enough, Phil,
it happens to
the
all.
Gen Z actually falls victim to more of them than seniors do. Yes. I think because maybe they have a bit. Yes, once they kind of get into the tech scam, the seniors kind of fall for it because they don't understand it. Maybe. Right. However, they're more leery to initially get into it because they're just
Gen
not
Z.
used
That's
to the
what
tech.
they do, man. They're just
everything is.
It's like
you get a link and you just do it or whatever, right? So kind of interesting. But anyway, let's talk about a couple of things. So phishing. Most of us are probably familiar with that term. Phishing starts with a P. That's your emails and your website scams, right? Trying to steal your data. There's another one, Phil, called vishing. What is that one?
So that's with voice, so the common one here is, you'll get a call from the IRS. This is the IRS. We're calling about a balance due. You owe us, $10,000 on your whatever return.
Yeah.
And, you need to go to the same thing. You need to go to the bank and wire us funds today, or we're going to come take your house. So
IRS doesn't do that.
First of all, number one, IRS never calls. Never. Yeah. They don't call. No. That's not what they do. They send certified letters.
Exactly.
Right? So
exactly.
That's where and it never escalates to that level now, right? It's not like the first thing you're going to hear from the IRS is on the phone saying, pay me $10,000.
Yeah. The sheriff's on the way to lock out your house. That's part of
it just doesn't happen, right? There's many steps that would have happened before you ever got to that stage, if that was a threat or even a possibility. So if you haven't had those, now if you've had 15 certified letters from the IRS, well, you better start paying attention because there might be something going to happen. But
yeah, those phone calls too, Phil. We talked about that a little while back. A lot of times they'll do things like, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing me. Can you hear me? Yes. Waiting for you to say yes. And you don't want to say yes. You just want to say, I can hear you. Or go ahead.
Yeah, because now they've got you recorded saying yes, that they can say, well, we told you this was happening. You agreed. Here's the recording.
Yeah, right. Yep. So typically just say, I can hear you. That's probably the better way to go about that. Or just hang up because it feels weird.
The goofy thing with that today, though, is that especially cell phones, right? Now, if you pay attention, but you get all these crazy calls and they're from like your local area. And it makes it look like this has got to be somebody I know. It's
it's local number. Yeah.
Local number. So it's like, no, this is,
I don't know you, so then, so that's vishing. Smishing, SMS, which is texting, basically, but they call it smishing. So that's just text stuff. So again, same kind of thing could be texting.
Usually a link or something. Yep.
Yeah, and it's just it's not worth clicking any of that. And we've talked about that before. If you get a thing, Amazon's a big one for that. You get there's a problem with your order. Click this link, and we'll get it taken care of. No. Don't click any links that something.
Go to your Amazon account and look at the
just log into your account yourself and see exactly. And what's at stake? Well, identity theft, right? Financial loss, credit damage, emotional stress, that kind of stuff. So not a good thing. So let's give some examples of from Thomson Reuters actually that provides. We'll put a link in there as well to the show notes. Some of the more details on some of the scams, but government scams. You just touched on that one with the IRS. What's some other ones?
So you can have sweepstakes, right? You've won you've won this big prize. All you have to do is fill out this bank information so we know where to send the money. Right?
Claim your $10,000.
Claim your $10,000. Yeah. So it's don't do that.
Yeah.
You didn't win.
Yeah, they didn't win. The phone scams you mentioned or the robo scams. For certainly the computer tech scams.
The computer tech, and that's a big one because it's again, if you have a computer and you're not real familiar or comfortable with it. Don't do that. Just if you need help, go to a physical computer location. Go to, the Geek Squad or whatever it is where you can talk and see somebody to know what's going on.
Doing something. For sure. Have you seen the grandparent scam or are those?
No, I've not heard of the grandparent scam.
So you'll get a call basically.
Oh, actually, yes, I have. Yeah.
And they basically kind of have gotten a hold of somebody's voice saying, hey, I got a ticket or I've been arrested and I need you to bail me out, kind of thing. And it seems, crazy that it's just seems believable, right? But a lot of times if that's the case, hang up and immediately, or grab another line if you've got somebody nearby and immediately call that particular loved one. And if they answer the phone and go, hey, is everything all right? They're like, yeah, I'm fine. Then it's a scam, right? And there's also romance scams. So somebody was just telling me the other day, one of my other clients I talked to, Phil, was saying that he started getting messages from someone he went to high school with saying that, they love to get together and kind of retalk and rekindle and all these kinds of things. And he's like, that seems really out of the blue. And they go on Facebook or whatnot, and they gather this information, and then they pose as being someone that you maybe used to know. Maybe you're lonely, especially for seniors, right? Maybe you're widowed or something, right? So a lot of weird stuff.
And I mean, this is another one that we actually have a real example of. In this case, it was one of our staff that they've got a friend that has gone through the same thing. That she was doing online dating, and talking to this one guy, and they got chatting back and forth online, and all she's ever seen of him is this picture,
right?
And as it turns out, in the end, this picture wasn't even him. I mean, this is some picture that they grabbed online somewhere to make it look like somebody you might want to get involved with. And anyways,
right. And now the AI pictures are so good, it could be not even a real person.
Yeah. So I mean, she ended up tens of thousands of dollars. Talked her into, I got this great investment, and I've made 10%, whatever it is, and all you have to do is open this account, and it was gone, and there's no way to get it. And the key with a lot of these things is they ask for a wire. And the reason they ask for a wire,
gift card's weird too.
Or gift cards, but a lot of times it's a wire for larger sums, because with a wire, the challenge there, once that button's hit, it's gone.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
no, I mean, if it's a check or if it's something like that, or there's the bank can sometimes get involved and trace that and stop it. But a wire is immediate and it's gone. So
it's gone. Great point. Yep. Well, let's go kind of rapid fire here, Phil. Let's go how to recognize some signs of a scam. Sure. All right. So I'll start with the easiest one. Look, if it's too good to be true, Grandma told us this, a million years ago. If it's too good to be true, it is.
Yeah. So we talked about the phishing, right? Emails. You get a link. You get an email with any kind of a link or attachment. I mean, that's the other thing, is they'll put a PDF attachment in there that once you click on it, it's got a virus in it that goes into your computer and grabs information.
Yep.
If you don't know the person that sent you a link or an attachment, just delete it. It's not worth it. I don't care what it says. Just delete it.
And go up to your email thing where it says spam or report spam.
And report it as spam and be done.
Just report it as spam, and that way you won't get one from that same account again, hopefully. Great one. Okay. Are they requesting small amount of money in order for you to get a larger amount of money? Back to our lovely prince from the 90s who says, transfer you $10 million for the low sum of 100,000 American.
Yeah, all I need is 100,000 American to get this released. So
no.
Unsolicited personal information, right? I mean, if the IRS is calling you and all of a sudden they're asking for, we just need to identify your, who you are. So can you give us your social and your date of birth and your, well, no, I mean, I think if this is the IRS, they already know all that information, right?
True. Great point.
Or, I mean, another one there is that, well, you've inherited this money, but we just need to, verify your information.
Verify who you are.
If they're asking, if you don't know the person asking for those pieces of information, don't give it to them. They're, more than likely it's a scam. So
I use Zelle on a bank, which a lot of banks have Zelle attached to it, to send some money, a little, just a small amount. And they went ahead and called and said, $50. I don't think they call, but I think anything, a couple hundred or something. And they are like, just want to verify, a couple of basic information. And it's like, okay, but they're calling me to verify a transaction that I initiated. That's a little bit different, right? Yep. So therefore they want to, verify that the information you put in was correct. So, kind of, again, think it through a little bit. Another one to look out for is poorly worded or maybe grammatical errors. I know in today's day and age with, autocorrect making mistakes a lot, but still, if you're getting repeated information and it just doesn't seem to be very grammatically correct, or just, it just feels like broken English, it could be because it's a foreign sort of a scam trying to be, perpetrated. So just be careful.
And I mean, the reality is a lot of these are, I mean, that's where they're coming from, is some foreign country into the US. So that's a real big key right there.
Yeah,
so
exactly. What else you got?
Yes. I mean, they're extorting, right? So, they want you to, well, back to the scenario we talked about in the very beginning, right? We've got all your money in the bank. All we need you to do is, wire us $1,000 and we'll release it. So that's extortion, right? In this case, they didn't really have it. I mean, another time that comes up is somebody grabs your information and they truly maybe have got into your computer and locked it out, right? You'll hear this with businesses a lot.
What do they call that? Ransomware.
Ransomware, right? So they'll get a ransomware and it locks up all your data so you can't get access to any of it. They'll release it. They'll give you the password to release it for some ransoms or extortion.
Yeah, crazy. Yep. All right, so let's beyond spotting the red flags, Phil. Let's go to some protections we can put in place. Just to avoid being a scam victim. Just some basic stuff. Let's just start with the thing we all hate: passwords. They suck. It's the world we live in now. We know but create strong, unique passwords and change them, folks, especially if we're talking about your financial stuff.
Yeah, and don't use the same one on everything. Because that you're just setting yourself up for somebody gets the one password and you're done because they've got the whole world, You
can't go with the great scene from Spaceballs and when they're trying to unlock the air of the movie. If you've never seen the movie Spaceballs, and the combination to the airlock is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
you can't go that simple, folks. So make sure you don't do that. Create something complicated and also keep track of some of that stuff too. And change them regularly, especially financially speaking. Change.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great softwares out there today that can help with that. You have to remember one password for that software, but then it will generate these complex passwords that
12 characters.
No one's going to be able to figure out, through knowing you what that might potentially be, because it's gibberish, basically just a bunch of random characters. So, but then this stores it for you, so you don't have to remember what those are. So.
Good point. Monitor your bank statements and certainly credit card transactions. At this point, folks, every credit card company can give you that setting where you can put, hey, if a transaction happens over $50, I want to know about it. Yeah, it might be annoying to get it because you did it, but hey, you did it. So when you get one you didn't do, it's automatic.
Or just look at it online. Log online. Don't wait for the statement. Even if you get paper statements, log online just periodically once a week and just run through the transactions to see does anything look out of the ordinary. So
actually, that brings up a good question, Phil. If you're a senior, if you're a pre-retiree, I'm 50 plus, whatever, right?
Yep.
Odds are your credit's probably where you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. More than likely, you're probably not going out and doing any kind of big transaction. Is it worth it to freeze your credit? Because it's totally fine to do, right? It's an easy thing. You can turn it on. You can turn it back off if you need. But if you're not anticipating buying a house or opening a line of credit or buying a new car, why not?
Yeah, freezing credit helps prevent somebody from opening up an account, a credit card, loan, whatever it is under your name. So freezing, that's one option. The only challenge I've heard sometimes with freezing it is, unfortunately, in the world we live in today, your insurance, your credit rating is a piece of that. So they're going to be pulling credit. And if it's frozen, you might have to unlock it for them to pull it. And, so it can be somewhat of a hassle kind of back and forth, but.
Oh, okay. Good point.
So that's an option. Another option is signing up for a credit reporting service. They're relatively inexpensive. You can, we have, it's $10 a month, right? So my wife and I do. And it notifies me. I get an email anytime there's any kind of a change in my credit, so. Gotcha. If somebody tried to apply for a card or whatever it is, it notifies me, hey, this has happened. Is this you?
Yeah.
So, and if not, then at least you've got the heads up right then to be able to take action. So
that's a great point. Yeah. All right. I was at the doctor's office the other day, and all doctor's offices offer, the free Wi-Fi while you're sitting there because you might be there a while, right? Fine, but don't go checking if you connect to it. Don't go checking your bank statements or something like that, right? If you're on an unsecured Wi-Fi that a McDonald's, whatever, please.
Starbucks or whatever. Yeah.
Please. Just don't. If you're checking your Instagram, fine, maybe. Even that I'm not sure I'd totally do nowadays, but certainly don't go checking anything personal.
Yeah. Especially these, more public type open networks like, any of the restaurants or things like that, because there are people, it's a crazy world we live in, right? But there are people that's their whole purpose. They're in that restaurant scanning everything going on and looking for somebody that maybe like you that is typing in their bank passwords, and now they got it. So
yep, exactly. To that point, passcodes on your phone. We all use them now. Whether you do the biometric thing or the two-face, the finger. I don't even know how I feel about the face thing. The face thing weirds me out too.
I know it does. I know that, or they've got the pattern. You can draw a certain pattern with the dots or something.
The pattern seems like it could be a little more interesting. But then if your phone screen starts to die and it doesn't retract, I don't know. But you still don't have an unlocked phone, I guess, is the key, right?
Right. Yeah. Don't keep it unlocked, because again, a lot of what we have today is maybe on that phone. So
yeah. All right. Well, all in all, Phil, I think at the end of the day, we'll wrap it up is that if you feel like you're a victim of a scam or something, or it could have been, checked into, immediately change some passwords, things of that nature. But if you're working with a financial professional like yourself, should they reach out to you and say, hey, Phil, I think something might have happened. Can we make sure what do we do there? Right.
So from like a financial account for our clients, a couple of precautions we take. So number one, we see all the transactions that go through. I get notified when there's any kind of withdrawal or whatever's going on, and withdrawals have to come through us. Not that we're trying to guard money from our clients, but it's a precaution, right? That we have to initiate that transfer.
Part of the service.
And with that, I mean, we typically will tell a client, look, if you're, especially newer clients, until we've developed a relationship and understand their pattern, if you send me an email and say, hey, I need a distribution of $10,000, we're going to call up and say, hey, we just got this email, just want to confirm it's you. Number one. Number two, a lot of times, most of the transfers today are done through electronic transfer. So we've already pre-established that connection between your investment, your IRA, let's say, and your bank account.
Gotcha.
So we get that email, it's going from your account to your account. Now, if that email says, well, I got a new account and I want you to send it to here, well, then, you're definitely going to get a call, and there's going to be another form we have to do to make sure that doesn't happen.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
It's less likely from our standpoint, but it's still something you need to talk to your advisor on. What is what's their procedure to hedge against that?
Yeah, exactly. And if it's egregious enough, folks, call the police. I mean, immediately take some action for yourself, right? If you're worried about that. But just some simple things that you can do to protect yourself. Check out the links we'll put in the show notes as well on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. Just hit that little subscribe button and ring the little notification bell. That way you can get new episodes when they come out. And as always, if you need some help, reach out to Phil. Of course, he's a qualified CPA and a personal financial specialist. And you can find him at Tills. You can find him at philstaxhacks.com. That's philstaxhacks.com. And of course, call him with the number on the screen if you need some help, or 248-888-7530. Phil, thanks for hanging out and breaking down some scams. Keep your head on a swivel, my friend.
That's right.
We'll see you next time here on Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts.
Phil?
Investment advisory services offered through AFS Wealth Management. The content of this program is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. Investments and/or investment strategies involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. There is no assurance that any investment strategy will achieve its objectives.